Hello, today our lesson is going to be over solving absolute value equations, and we are going to work with equalities first, and then later there'll be another lesson on inequalities. To start with, an absolute value is always positive. It is the number of units in either direction from a set point. The easiest example of this is to think about the distance below sea level. If you say you are 5 feet below sea level, you are 5 feet from the top of the ocean, but you're also in a negative direction. You can be 5 feet above the ocean, and you're still 5 feet, but you're going in a positive direction. That's how absolute values work. It can be as simple as there are people to the left of you 2 desks over, and there are people to the right of you 2 desks over. So that distance is positive, but it can be in a negative direction or a positive direction. To interpret that on a number line, you're still talking about the number of units from a set point. So this part right here, the absolute value of x minus b, is the distance between x and b, and it's saying it is k units. So you could go k units in this direction, or you could go k units in this direction. That's all an absolute value is doing. To solve an absolute value equality, you use that knowledge that you are moving this many units in either direction. So you begin, you have your original equation, and in this case it's the absolute value of x minus b equals k. This means the distance between x and b is k units, and it can be a positive direction or a negative direction. To begin the solving, you write 2 equations. The first one deals with going c units in a positive direction. The second deals with going c units in a negative direction. Notice we have no absolute value bars in these. You then solve each equation and check. This is very important. Absolute values can give you an answer that appears to be correct, but when you plug it back in, it gives you an incorrect solution. Something I want you to remember is that the absolute value of any number is telling you the number of units it's moving. So it has to always be positive. This number cannot equal a negative number. Let's do a simple practice problem. Let's start with the absolute value of x minus 5 equals 7. This problem is telling you the distance between x and 5 is going to be 7 units in either a positive direction or a negative direction. To begin with, you take your single absolute value equation and you're going to write it as 2 equalities. So our first case, or we're going in a positive direction, would be x minus 5 equals positive 7. To solve this, you add 5 to both sides, and you get x equals 12. Remember, we need to check these answers. In this case, you could do it mentally just about as quickly as you could write it. So we have x minus 5 equals 7, or the absolute value of 12 minus 5 equals 7. 12 minus 5 is 7, and the absolute value of 7 is 7. So this is indeed a true statement. All right, let's do our second case. This would be our negative case. So we're going to rewrite our absolute value without the bars. You have x minus 5 equals negative 7. We're saying it could go 7 units in a negative direction. Again, we're going to add 5 to both sides. So x equals negative 2. Don't forget the check. You can do this mentally or on paper. The absolute value of negative 2 minus 5 equals 7. Notice here, when I checked it with my original equation, not the equation I broke it down to solve it. That's very important. It has to make the original equation true. So that gives us the absolute value of 7 equals 7. The absolute value of negative 7 is indeed 7, and this is a true statement. So for this problem, our two answers were 12 and negative 2. Let's move on to a different problem. The absolute value of 2x plus 12 equals 4x. The first thing you'll probably notice that there are x's inside and the absolute value bars. That is not a problem. You're just going to work through this algebraically and it'll all fall out in the end. Don't let something that looks different scare you. So to begin, two different cases. This is telling me I can go on a number line 4x units in this direction or 4x units in this direction. So I'm going to write it as two cases. 2x plus 12 equals positive 4x. And my second case, we'll do that in just a minute. To begin, we want to combine all of our x's. I want to move this to this side. To do that, I have to undo it. Undoing a positive is subtracting it. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides, and that gives me 2x plus 12 equals 0. I want to move the 12 to this side. Again, I'm undoing. To undo a positive, you subtract. So I have negative 2x equals negative 12. Divide by negative 2. X equals 6. We need to check this. So let's do that really quickly. 2 times x would be 12 plus 12 equals 4 times x, or 24. The absolute value of 24 equals 24, and the absolute value of 24 is 24. So we do have a true statement. All right, to do the next problem, we're going to take our negative case. So the problem equals 2x plus 12 equals negative 4x. Notice I'm using the negative distance this time. Begin the same way. We're going to undo this portion, so we're going to add 4x to both sides. That gives me 6x plus 12 equals 0. I want to subtract 12 from both sides. So 6x equals negative 12. Divide both sides by 6, and x equals negative 2. Again, check your answer. Very important. So we have the absolute value of 2 times x, or 2 times negative 2, negative 4, plus 12, equals 4 times negative 2. This becomes absolute value of 8 equals negative 8. Notice an absolute value, again, we're moving a set number of units, and that's always positive. There is no way it can equal a negative number. So the absolute value of 8 will equal 8 by definition, and that does not equal 8. So this is what we call an extraneous solution, or a solution that appears to be correct but is not. So in the problem of the absolute value of 2x plus 12 equals 4x, we came up with two answers, x equals 6 and x equals negative 2. However, upon checking them, we realized that x equals negative 2 is extraneous, and did not give us the answer we wanted. Therefore, the final answer is x equals 6.